Welcome to Inside the BACB, the official podcast of the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. In this episode, Dr. Molli Luke and Kyle Jordan join Dr. Melissa Nosik to discuss the BACB's transition to continual testing for BCBA and BCABA certification examinations and the availability of immediate examination results.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the BACB. I'm Melissa Nosik, Deputy CEO at the BACB, and I'll be your host today. I have asked Kyle Jordan, our Director of Testing and Accreditation, and Dr. Molli Luke, our Director of Certificate Services, to join me. Today, the podcast is being released with an important announcement about BCBA and BCABA examinations. It is my pleasure to share with you all that immediate results will be provided at the test center for BCBA and BCABA examinations. And if that's not enough, testing will be available all year long. So say goodbye to the windows. We will be making testing available at any time throughout the year that you choose to schedule. The testing industry calls this on-demand testing. So if we refer to it in that way throughout the podcast, that's what it is. Molli and Kyle, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit and telling people about your roles with respect to on-demand testing? Kyle, you want to kick us off?
Yes, please. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Kyle Jordan, the Director of Testing and Accreditation here at the BACB. Thrilled to be here today discussing this initiative. My role at the BACB is to lead a team that maintains the credential programs. My responsibilities to the on-demand transition revolve around scoring oversight and making sure that each candidate receives a fair and valid test form.
Hey everyone, this is Molli. I am the Director of Certificate Services, and I am happy to be here with you again today to discuss the implications for applying now that we are in the on-demand world.
Thank you both. This is a really important milestone for the BCBA and BCABA certification programs. To provide some context and speak to a little of the history nerd out there, beginning in 1999, the examinations were only offered at a few behavior analysis conventions, and in select U.S. locations, paper and pencil administrations were available. In 2005, computer-based administrations were offered in 2 testing windows each year, so only 2. And then we added a third and a fourth window as the administrations needed to change based on volume. Now, the psychometric infrastructure at the BACB has made it possible to move examinations to be available all year long and with immediate results provided at the testing center. What that means is a couple of things for you. As soon as your application is processed, you will receive an examination authorization that will allow you to schedule your examination whenever. When you go to the test center, you will receive your score immediately. So if you pass, you will be certified as of the date of the examination. The certification number will be generated by our system within 24 hours of completion of the examination. If you fail, you'll complete a retake application as we have in the past, and you'll be authorized to take the exam 30 days from the date of the last attempt. So that's a summary of the main points of the podcast. So Kyle, I know that a question our audience might have about this is related to why we can now do on demand.
Sure. Well, to start, it is always critical to consider that the administration of an assessment or examination be fair to any candidate that qualifies to take the assessment. So how do we go about managing that fairness? The BACB reviews several components, such as difficulty level of the examination, number of questions delivered, volume of testers, and even eligibility requirements. And when considering the difficulty of the examination, the testing team wants to make sure that every single exam form that is built and delivered to the candidates can be statistically equated to the very first base form that was built for the 4th edition task list. And I mentioned that list specifically since that is the task list that candidates are currently tested from. The BACB can now provide score reports immediately to candidates after a test form is delivered because we are pre-equating the exam forms, meaning some of the fairness management is taking place before the exam is administered and not after. The amount of data available on examination items is now robust enough that the data can be used to pre-establish reliable assessment outcomes for each individual test taker prior to them testing. And historically, the BACB has utilized a post-exam equating model, which is still the practice in a number of industries and allows for a period of time after testing has occurred to ensure fairness and reliability of an examination, which is why it has taken up to 45 days for the BACB to generate results in the past. But I also want to convey that the look and feel of the BACB exams will remain the same no matter when results are released. Same rigor, same exam experience, same security standards. And please let me just add while I'm on a roll that we all know the need for flexibility in this rapidly growing profession applies to absolutely all aspects of the profession, from practice to organization practice, policies, and procedure. And we live that mantra at the BACB, and this project has been at the top of our priority list for the past year. It has required grueling planning and coordination with our testing vendor, and the time is finally here.
Kyle, thank you so much for that summary, and thank your team, please, for all the hard work to make this happen. That was a really great description of how the volume of data has resulted in these new possibilities for our candidates and the testing experience and why we're doing it now. Molli, could you now do a deep dive into what this change will mean for the candidate from the application processing perspective?
Definitely. In all honesty, not too much will change. You'll apply the same way that you're currently applying. The main difference is that now you can apply anytime without the pressure of a looming application deadline and exam window. So also, as you do right now, if your application's approved, then you will have a 2-year exam authorization window. And within that 2 years, you'll have 8 opportunities to pass the exam. So this number 8 was actually chosen because it's the same as we currently have with the 4 testing windows per year. Nothing will change in that regard. But the biggest difference is that you can now take the exam every 30 days instead of every 3 months.
Well, does that mean somebody could burn through their 8 attempts in 8 months?
That's correct. Although you can take it every 30 days, I strongly encourage you to be really thoughtful about each time you retake the exam, because if you use all of your 8 attempts and you still have time in your 2-year authorization window, then you won't be able to reapply again until those 2 years are up. And something else I do want to mention with our upcoming change to the 5th edition is if your 2-year authorization then coincides with that change, you might need additional coursework, fieldwork, or a degree.
Yes, and I would just add, if I could, a message to candidates to please be mindful. A flexibility to schedule provides a bit more operational control of BACB standards, and I think it's just really important to convey that you take the ownership of that control seriously. Between examination attempts, it's a great opportunity to obtain additional training, or at the same time, consider pursuing the BCABA certification. But honestly, I know we are focused on the potential for failure and stressing strong points to prepare to sit for the exam, but just so everyone knows, it is rare for people to take the examination this many times. For example, when we reviewed a recent event window for BCBA and BCABA, we found that only 2.21% of candidates had taken the exam 8 or more times. And some of those individuals had those numbers because they were attempting within 2 eligibility cycles.
That's a really good point, Kyle. So to get back to the encouraging part, if you do pass the exam, as Melissa mentioned, you'll be certified as of the date of the examination. Your certification number will be generated within 24 hours of completing the exam, and that'll be available in your BACB account. If you do not pass the exam, you will complete a retake application, and you'll be authorized to take the exam 30 days from the date of the last attempt.
So how long will it be before they have the link to the retake application?
That's a great question. They'll have 24 hours.
And Kyle, should they complete the retake application right away?
There's no harm in doing that. Again, I would stress the point that candidates be very mindful of the standards they must operate within.
So how will somebody know when the date is that they can test again?
Well, candidates will complete a retake application, as been mentioned, and we will send over the required information to our testing vendor, which will allow a candidate to test. Candidates will receive an email confirming that they can move forward with the process.
So Molli, what do you expect to see in customer service and applications as any pain points to this process?
I'm glad you asked that. With our old windows and application deadlines, we have started to see a pretty predictable pattern, with the majority of people applying right around the application deadline. So with on-demand, we can't predict what the new pattern will be. I'm guessing it will even out a little bit, but on the other hand, we might see a high volume a few times a year. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our applications team 45 days to process applications in case that does happen. Although that does seem like a longer time, the benefit that we have right now is that once your application's approved, you could take that exam immediately, maybe that day if there's a testing site open. And if you pass the exam, you could be certified immediately. So with that said, I would recommend making sure that you meet the eligibility requirements and have all your documents ready before you apply so we can process your application efficiently. And we did just recently publish a blog with some application tips. So I'd also recommend checking that out before you apply.
In closing, we didn't answer all the questions here. So check out our blog on this topic at BACB.com. Also, make sure you check out our examinations page at BACB.com. And on-demand testing is here. So that means you are going to get your results immediately and you can schedule anytime. We hope this adds some flexibility and is useful to our applicants and to the training programs.
Thank you for listening to Inside the BACB. Don't miss future episodes. Subscribe now.